Salutations, Utopians. Hope all is well in your world. We have breaking news in the NFL. Baltimore Ravens acquire ex-Pittsburgh Steeler and Carolina Panther Diontae Johnson. Very physical, sturdy wide receiver. Obviously, we all know there right now, they being the Carolina Panthers, are going through a rebuild. They may have a quarterback situation that's less than desirable. Bryce Young looked a lot better last week. However, it still seems like they are better off. They're more closer towards a rebuild than they are towards on the up and coming ascension, right? So tear down. They're more on a tear down than they are on a build up, and so Diontae was expendable, and it ties perfectly into my analysis. Last night I was going to drop my Russell Wilson impression video, and then this happened, and I believe they're intertwined. First and foremost, as I've earlier alluded to, and I still remain on on this stance for whomever does see these videos, what's going on in Pittsburgh is exactly what I expected. In terms of Russell's performance, he looked phenomenal last night on Monday Night Football. Austin looked great. Had a kick return, from the kick returns to the getting open on, and then Pickens looks every bit of the part as a WR1 right now. I actually like Pickens better than I like CeeDee Lamb, but that's for another day. With that being said, when the Steelers made this changing of quarterback from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson, who last night or the day before game time was announced to be the third string emergency quarterback due to a hammy pull on Thursday. My initial impression was they knew what game to put him in. They put him in the game against the New York Jets, who are a walking soap opera. They are worse than a rebuild. They're probably in a worse situation than Carolina. Not probably, it's a fact. I'd rather be in Carolina's situation than be in New York's situation, where it's a bunch of tabloid journalism going on, a bunch of finger pointing, a lot of toxicity. You have a legacy, again, falls right in line with everything I've been saying. You see Caitlin Clark's coach get fired. You've seen Darvin Ham with the Lakers get fired. These legacy players, Angel Reese in Chicago, this constant theme of legacy players. Tina Charles with the Atlanta Dream. You get terminated when you don't meet, and Robert Saleh is the latest installment of that with Aaron Rodgers. Now they got Jeff Ulbrich, who's never coached a day in his life as a head coach, at least on the professional level. So what we got here now is a situation where you got the Jets, then you got the lowly Giants, who defensively, they're actually good enough to win games in the playoffs. Not just regular season, but in the playoffs. But there's a big disconnect. And on the theme of quarterbacks, though Daniel Jones is not an ideal quarterback, he's not the first problem right now with the Giants. They still have the stench of what they did to Saquon Barkley. There's a disconnect between Dabble and the front office and ownership. So there's a culture cleanse that needs to go on with the Giants that's just not happening. It's continuing and carrying over from what I believe also the Odell Beckham or Eli Manning. Let Elon choose when he wants to leave, but in the meantime, you're compromising this all-world talent in Beckham, and he's just hanging around in the league. He should have retired after the Rams, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, and should be retiring now with the Jets. Same thing. And in speaking on that same vein, Odell Beckham, Aaron Rodgers, well, guess what? Don't get me wrong. Russell Wilson should have retired too after the Seattle run. He should have been out of the league. Sean Payton salvaged him. He's out here squeezing another check out of the Steelers. You pick on the Jets, you pick on the Steelers. I remain on my stance. We shall see who you are when you got to go against the Commanders, when you have to go, who didn't look that great. I know they're citing that Daniels has a rib problem. They had to win on a Hail Mary, but still, against the Bears. The Bears are another team where quarterback play is not necessarily matching the productivity of the defense. And so what you have is this little bit of a disconnect. But you got more than enough time to patch what you need over there. I still respect what the Bears got going on over there. There's something to hope for there. They're on the ascension. Good foundation, ascending. Obviously, they need to patch the trenches and things of that nature, but they're getting better week by week. You're seeing them take advantage of matchups when they have them, the few rare times. But this is kind of what I expected from the Bears. Again, I'm venturing off, but just for that sake, I was telling people, I'm like, I don't get it. The schedule is crazy. I don't think Caleb is better than Jaden Daniels. All these various things that were kind of just, I didn't understand the hype machine, but it is USC. That's what they're good for. They're the media capital of universities in sports, entertainment. So now we're looking at the Steelers, and it's like, okay, they have this big time show out. Really had two touchdowns negated yesterday with Pickens, which that would have been really important for an optic standpoint, from a confidence standpoint. But when the Steelers brought him in, they're like, if we keep Fields in, mind you, he had a rough game against the Raiders, another team that has a great defense. Offense is not quite caught up to speed to the level of intensity of the defense, so much so I bet you in practice they got to sit some of these defensive players out just to allow the offense to run their plays, right? So, stellar defense, offense subpar. And even Matthew Stafford, mind you, who obviously didn't have Puka, didn't have Cooper Kupp, but with that being said, they went out there and he struggled against the Raiders defense. Then Justin Fields, right after Justin Fields got benched for his performance against the Raiders. And so you put Russell in, and I think why they did that, the one thing I'll say is the running theory I have with the Russ getting put into the offense. If you let Justin play against the Jets, and those were the two games where that was going to be the cementing, there's no other quarterback for us. And when you pair with the pressure of the media, what do you have in Russ? What do you have in Russ? Because you don't necessarily look like the greatest show on turf with Justin Fields. It was a sense like, okay, cool, you're building up some equity and some confidence. Like I said, I still believe somehow the ball will end up back in Justin Fields' hands. Now, you can't fault a guy like Mike Tomlin after the season he had last year with the musical chairs at quarterback all the way up into the postseason. And even then, they crawled in at 9-7. I can't remember if they won. I know I should know better, but I can't remember if they won that first round or if they didn't. But they didn't embarrass themselves. And up into the playoffs, they were still flipping quarterbacks for one reason or another. Shout out to Mason Rudolph. He looked really great with Calvin Ridley. Even though the Titans lost against the Lions, got shellacked, which the Lions have the largest margin of victory right now in the NFL at 18 and a whopping 18 and a half points. What's the half? 18 points. What are you talking about? 18 and a half. There's no half a point. 18 points a game. At the end of the day, he got the ball to Ridley, their prize free agent possession. If you're not going to win games, at least show that, at least make the front office look good and feed your prize free agent investment, which is what they did. Spent $90 million on Calvin Ridley. So the least they can do is get him the ball, get a quarterback who can get him the ball. I'm not giving up on Will Levis, but he needs plenty reps. He needs a lot of time sitting down. He's not one of those start and plug and start kind of quarterbacks. That's not an indictment on him. That doesn't mean he doesn't have a career in the league, but a lot of GMs look smart right now for letting him slide to the second round until Tennessee got him. But even more brilliant is Mike Vrabel right now, who I think is the top dog now in the coaching carousel for this next cycle of coaches. There's quite a few teams that could use him, but again, I digress. So you're watching this unfold right now with respect to the Tennessee Titans. I'm sorry. You're watching this situation right now with the Steelers. You're getting a little confidence. You're going into a bye week now. Then you got the Commanders. Then the real test comes with the Ravens. And the key with the Ravens, why I really want to tie this into the Diontae Johnson, he's an ex-Steeler. And whatever's going on, you as a GM, me as an analyst, and them as a GM are two different things. The Steelers GM, the Ravens GM. You have to neutralize all potential threats. Why I love this is because the Steelers are a highly probable opponent that they might have to see in the postseason. Diontae knows their defensive scheme. He knows the ins and outs of Mike Tomlin. This was an excellent, excellent acquisition, extremely great value pick. If it was this is just as good as getting Devontae Adams, if you ask me, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to ask me, I think this was just as good as a Devontae Adams pick because he knows the insides and outs of that franchise. They don't do too much moving at the top. So, Khan is Khan, Tomlin is Tomlin, ownership is ownership. They don't have no problems there. Every team go through their cycle. For the most part, the Steelers are a diamond standard for franchises in any sports for that matter. So them acquiring an ex-Steeler who had spent a lengthy amount of time, who the team invested draft capital in, who technically they made him. And there was a time, it's crazy watching these Steeler trade rumors of wide receiver because there was a time, them and the Giants, where they were a wide receiver factory. They created receivers. You know what I mean? From Hines Ward to Antonio Brown to Randall L. to, the list goes on and on. They're actually the first franchise to really have, in my existence, a gadget player like Cordell Stewart, ex-Colorado Buffs. I was telling my boy Dave about this guy. Him when shout out to him. He talks a lot about Colorado football, and now he's over there in an influential, impactful role with Coach Prime. The gadget wide receiver that paved the way for the Deebo Samuels. They're the first franchise that I've seen really do that in my existence. That's all I can speak on. So, when you watch what's going on with the Steelers, they've created, and I'm not even doing a service. Lima Sweet, they make these guys, man. They make them. I can't even tell you all the people that they've drafted that have ended up having very respectable, solid careers in the league. But once upon a time, they were a factory for wideouts, and now to see them on the market looking to just fast track and just trade for one, Cooper Kupp, Devontae, old boy from San Francisco. I can't think of his name off the top. Brandon Ayuk, and so they've been rumored, and they're still, and it would behoove them to still keep looking as well. Even though Austin has emerged 19, I keep thinking that's Tavon Austin, who shout out to him. He just retired this offseason, but Miles Austin looked amazing out there. This week on Monday night, kick returning touchdowns, running routes, no safety help. The Giants did look lackluster out there, but the fact that the Steelers went and got the Ravens went and got ex-Steeler Diontae Johnson, who's a very physical, compact, strong wide receiver, similar in the mold of like a Deebo, but not the utility player, that caliber of player that Deebo is. That was an absolute phenomenal sign trading, and I think it goes to show how much the Steelers are to be taken serious regardless of who's the signal caller. So that is what I believe right now is going on. I really love the fact that there's all this trade movement in the NFL. It makes it very interesting. I think that is now the fourth wide receiver to get traded before the trade deadline. And it was a damn good one because, like I said, the Ravens know we might need to watch out for them. They're not a sexy, glamorous team, but with the right schedule, the Steelers could easily get into the championship, can get to the Super Bowl. I'm not convinced the Chiefs are. That is the most fluke 7-0 team I've seen. And if you look at from defensive, overall defense, win-loss column, margin of victories, there's a lot of statistics where the Chiefs and Steelers are shadowing each other. And the Steelers, I was looking this up during the game yesterday, and the Steelers are right there neck and neck, and they got two running backs. They got Warren. They got Najee Harris, even though he's kind of regressed a little bit. There's moments where looks like he's fading. He's obviously not the rookie version of himself. The tread and the wear and tear of being a running. But they can run too, which is what you need in the postseason. Because all that vertical stuff that you be seeing during the regular season wins you games. But once you get in the postseason, what wins you championships is being able to tuck that ball between the tackles and get them, grind out them yards. And that's what they got there. And then you got the Super Bowl, ex-Super Bowl quarterback. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of it. I still think Justin Fields has a more higher ceiling. But also, let's not forget, he's a pending free agent. They might want to try to, I know it's wrong, it's dirty business, but to channel his market value to re-sign him and lock him in and tease him at least for the next couple years, like he has a chance at being a franchise quarterback, even though they've shown now that they're not giving him franchise treatment the way they just put him out the game like that. Because these last two games would have been the perfect stabilizing games to go, okay, this is our quarterback. But instead, they chose to keep the door open with Russ and Fields. And now we kind of see Russ looks a lot better in the short term due to also matchups and not having the pressure of debut opening day. You know, not to carry this video too long, but I do find it quite fascinating. My mindset was going into the season was, you put the veteran in first, and then let the rookie see just to, instead they protected Russ like he was the rookie coming off of that season with the Broncos and the drama and, just that whole whirlwind of situation, the production, the drama, all that. They protected him and put Fields out there. Fields did a lot of the dirty work, the dirty lifting. Ironically, normally it's the other way around. Vet goes first, young player second. So, that goes to show you how fragile it was or delicate that situation was with Russ. They felt with the Steelers. This way looks better for now. They definitely look good. Like I said, we'll see what happens against the Commanders. That could be the first decay and the first moment of decline before they get to the Ravens, who the real test are. And then and remember, the Ravens got Diontae Johnson now, and he knows. And that's what they're gearing up for, that Ravens game. That is the biggest game of the week. Ravens versus Steelers. That's going to be the revealer of everything. I hope everyone's going to be healthy for that game. I'll try to do better next time, Utopians. Global, out.